What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about Deion Jones. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for your continued support. We're about 95 subscribers away from 2,000. So I appreciate you guys continuing to share out my content. If you would like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to talk about linebacker Deion Jones. News broke late last night that Deion Jones had been traded from the Atlanta Falcons to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are receiving Deion Jones and a sixth-round pick in 2024, and the Atlanta Falcons are receiving a seventh-round pick in 2024 for Deion Jones. I don't think that the Falcons, this was a good move by our Atlanta Falcons, being that I feel like we should have been able, to get back more compensation for a Pro Bowl linebacker in Deion Jones. Deion Jones is not a linebacker that's past his prime. Deion Jones is still a fairly young linebacker. He still has a lot of great football that he's going to play in the NFL for the Cleveland Browns. And I do think that the Falcons kind of got fleeced with this trade. I really think that the Falcons were just ready to move on from Deion Jones for some reason. You guys know that I am a patient Atlanta Falcons fan, a patient content creator, but I got to keep it real. In this instance, I don't like this move by the Falcons. We've watched this Falcons team for the first 5 games, and it's obvious that this Falcons team is missing an elite linebacker, missing a linebacker that can cover. And Deion Jones is the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. His stats prove that. This man has 11 interceptions in his Atlanta Falcons career, or his NFL career. I believe he's 1 interception away from tying the all-time NFL record for most interceptions returned for touchdowns by a linebacker. So Deion Jones is one of those unicorn type linebackers. He's not a linebacker that grows on trees. He's not one of those guys that you can go out and just replace easily. And I think that this was a bad move by the Atlanta Falcons. I do believe in Terry Fontenot. I do believe in Arthur Smith and this regime. And I really feel like this move has nothing to do with scheme. I don't think it has nothing to do with Deion Jones being a bad teammate or anything like that. I think this is more about this coaching staff wanting to bring in their guys. I talked a little bit about this during training camp when Drew Dalman and Matt Hennessy were battling it out for the starting center position. To me, Drew Dalman didn't do anything to basically replace Matt Hennessy in training camp or in preseason. But I figured if it came down to, both of those guys were playing, pretty even. I figured that this regime, Arthur Smith, they would go with Drew Dalman because they drafted Drew Dalman last year, and Matt Hennessy was drafted by Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn. So I already kind of knew going into the season that Arthur Smith and these guys were probably going to go with Drew Dalman as that center position because they do have the right to want to bring in their players and players that fit their scheme. And if you look at this Falcons roster, they've moved away from a lot of the guys that Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff drafted. It's a limited amount of guys that they kept on this roster, like Grady Jarrett, Michael Walker is still under his rookie deal. Isaiah Oliver they brought back on a 1-year deal, but mainly most of the guys that was here when Dan Quinn was here and Thomas Dimitroff were here, they have either been cut, released, or they just weren't re-signed. So I do think that these guys do deserve the right to bring in guys that they feel, fit their scheme, or guys that they drafted. I do think at this point we can tell that Troy Anderson, the jury is still out on him if he's going to be able to replace a guy like Deion Jones. I do think he has the athletic ability to be a really good linebacker in this league, but I think that this is a mistake because I think that Deion Jones could have been one of those guys to help mentor a guy like Troy Anderson. I could understand, not re-signing Deion Jones and maybe just letting him play out the remainder of this season and allow him to kind of cultivate the young linebackers that are on this team, like Michael Walker, guys like Troy Anderson, because Deion Jones has played a lot of football in his NFL career at this point. I believe he's in year 7. This year made his 7th season in the NFL. Every year he's had over 100 tackles, and he's been one of, like I said, the most elite linebackers when it comes to coverage. And that's what the Falcons have been struggling. If you look at the game yesterday against the Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette had 10 receptions yesterday. So that just goes to show most of Tom Brady's throws yesterday was dinking and dumping the ball down in the flats and allowing guys to run out the catch, dinking and dumping balls down to wide receivers and tight ends. And that mainly is a reflection of our linebacking play and our linebacking core. At this point, to me, you really don't have a lot of depth on your linebacker position, even though we have guys on this roster like Nate Landman. We have Troy Anderson, Michael Walker, Rashaan Evans. You have these guys, but a lot of these guys are on one-year deals. So to me, it doesn't make sense with this move to move on from Deion Jones, who I think, like I said, could have been the veteran in that room. No disrespect to Rashaan Evans, because Rashaan Evans has played a lot of football as well, but he doesn't have that coverage ability. He's a guy that's a downhill linebacker, and I feel like Deion Jones could have helped this team because we're in win now mode, and these guys are trying to win games. If you really want to win games, you don't get rid of great players. That's just personally how I feel about it. All of those people that keep saying that Deion Jones isn't a scheme fit, that isn't true. Deion Jones is one of those guys that would have fit in this scheme because of his ability to pretty much play in any scheme. Deion Jones is not one of those guys, because the NFL is wide open now, where it's a lot of spread offenses, it's a lot of passing, because they say now that it's a passing league. You have to have linebackers that can cover. So having a linebacker that can cover the way that Deion Jones covers, like I said, that doesn't grow on trees. That's going to be hard to find. And Deion Jones is not only a guy that's great in coverage, but he's also great at getting after the quarterback and blitzing because of his speed. So at this point, this just tells me that the Falcons think that Troy Anderson is going to be the guy that's going to be able to replace what Deion Jones did well. I do think that Troy Anderson has a lot of talent, and he does have a chance to be a great linebacker. But personally, I would have kept Troy Anderson and Deion Jones and tried to pair those two guys together. Guys like Michael Walker, Rashaan Evans, to me, those guys would have been the guys on the chopping block. I wouldn't have got rid of Deion Jones for a 7th round pick. To me, you gain nothing by letting go of Deion Jones, because we still have that dead cap hit for letting Deion Jones walk. And we pretty much have given the Browns a Pro Bowl player basically for nothing. The 7th round pick pretty much is nothing at this point. So basically, the Falcons did give away Deion Jones for a song and dance at this point. So I do want to thank Deion Jones for everything that he's did for our Atlanta Falcons. I wish him nothing but the best and happy trails. With that being said, you guys let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you think about Deion Jones being traded to the Cleveland Browns. But with that being said, this has been your boy Jew. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. Peace.